This is the assignment for cardboard sculpture, and there are some options here for this assignment. You are going to pick architecture, or a chair, or bas relief creatures as your assignment. In each of these, you will use cardboard and the objectives that are here, but they're also available on Canvas. Let's look at what architecture is. Architecture deals with buildings and livable spaces. So, in three cases, I have examples for you. In this case, it's just an example that I've made, kind of an alternative way to make this house or this building stand. You can see how I designed it on the left and my sculpture on the right. I've done things to alter it. I've used Scamper. If you remember Scamper, um, I've altered things. I've substituted things. I've combined things. I've reduced things. I've looked at it forward and backward. I have to have a vision of what this is going to look like on all sides, but that's just one example of architecture, and this is not made from a template. It is something that I had to design and draw out and finish on my own. So yours are going to have a template, much like this one. These are row houses. You don't have to make multiple of these. You can just have one building. They're usually connected, but you can see it's plain and simple. The design is all ready for you, but the finished elements are not. So the windows, if they have bays, if they have trim, if there's spires or steps or railings, you will have to draw that. What colors are involved, draw that out in your design using the template that's given. That's one option. There's two more. This is an old Greek home. So traditionally, the Greeks built homes like this with an upper floor and a balcony. You'll notice that the layout is very straightforward, but there's are you going questions about, are you going to put tile on the roofs and how will you do that? Are you going to invent a railing and what will you make it out of? Will it be paper? Will it be sticks? Will it be iron? Will it be steel? Can you get the products you need to make this? Are there going to be shutters? Um, are the windows going to be straight or are you going to arch them? There are things you can do to alter this and change those shapes. Another one is the traditional pioneer house. It is a basic shape template. There's no chimney involved. If you made a chimney, what would you make it out of? How would you make it look like those stones? How are you going to make it look like a log cabin? Are you going to actually use sticks or logs there? And how are you going to make them look old? Are you going to use paint? Are you going to use what kind of things you can do? Make illusion and texture, chimneys, doors. Maybe it has window boxes like this one, plants on the outside. What are you going to add to it to make it yours? Those are the three architectural examples. Let's move on to slotted cardboard. You could invent something with cardboard where you slot those so they can fit together, like the rocket on the right. Anything you like. There are many examples out there if you want to do some internet searches and then make your own. Um, but there are also three templates available for this if you don't want to invent one, and therefore chairs. And remember, these are maquettes or small models that you could make. And so there's a template where you could make a modern chair. You can see the parts here. How could you alter this or change it? Could you cut some openings in the seating so that it has a theme? What shapes could you make that into? Another one is a simple stool, has four straight legs and a round top. But if you look at the contours here, I want you to create new contours. So the red indicates that there's maybe a lion's foot here or a contour of an animal's leg, something that's been domesticated. Again, you can cut into it, you can change it, alter it to design it how you need to using your Scamper model to be creative. Here's another chair. This is an option to create just the profile here on the side. You can see in red it was straight before the red, but then it's had an animal shape added to it, so maybe it becomes kind of a dinosaur looking thing, or maybe um, a llama, whatever you think is creative. You can change those shapes a little bit. Now it still needs to have function, so we're talking about strength, and that needs to keep some integrity. It needs to be thick around the back so somebody could lean against that. Now, these chairs really do work when they're full sized, so maybe you would keep that in mind. Now, let's look at the next kind of option. So, we've looked at architecture and chairs, and now we're going to look at bas relief. Bas relief, BAS, is a French word pronounced bas. The S is silent. And relief sculpture means that it's partially sculpted in the round, but not completely round. So it'll be flat. It'll be low relief, is what they call it. So you're going to draw your shapes in your design and your contours. So each shape is a contour, and you start with the biggest one on the bottom, and as each part of that becomes more has more volume, you'll stack those shapes. So you'll want to see or you'll want to design how high that cardboard is. So you might need to show the top view and a side view. You can see that this spider is 5 cardboard uh, layers high, and different shapes in different spots. There's a more advanced way of using bas relief, and that is through slotted bas relief. And this is truly a challenge. If you choose to do something like this, you're going to be putting way more time than we have in class to design it, but it is possible. You can see that there are 2 vertical cross members holding that elephant together. They go right down the nose and then up to the forehead, and everything else is kind of a round um, shape, or even the tusks come out from a vertical shape. You want to slot those so they all fit together. This takes a lot of foresight, and so that's an option of something you might want to do. Again, we have architecture, chairs, and bas relief you can choose from to do this assignment.